Yo, Thor Love and Thunder is like right around the corner, bruh, and I've got a list of the gods who we expect to see in the movie, but who is safe and who is a prime target to be on Gorr the God Butcher's hit list? What's up? I'm Kendall with Normies and Nerds. Thanks for stopping by. Please drop a like and subscribe to the channel because we're on the grind to our first 1,000 subs. Let's get it. Because there is no doubt that Phase 4 movies has brought it with the cameos, right? And with a movie that features Gorr the God Butcher and like a pantheon of gods and two celestials, I have to believe that we're in for far more cameos in this movie than what we've seen in the trailer so far. And spoiler warning in case I'm right about any of these things, and let's start it off with who we know for sure is going to be in the movie. Number one being Zeus. Because like, yo, to be real, the first time that I heard that Zeus was in this movie, I was for sure that he'd be the first one to get the axe. But now that I've seen the trailer, I will say that he's definitely a prime candidate to be on Gorr's hit list because, yo, he seems gluttonous, overconfident, a pompous ass, and someone who would not take heed of a warning that Gorr the God Butcher is coming to like butcher him. In fact, we know that Thor and his gang will be fighting Zeus in what we now know to be Omnipotent City, and that's likely because Zeus will be a straight up asshole, and maybe even a bit of a villain. So, with all that being said, real quick with Zeus, I'd say he's about a 68% chance of being killed by Gorr the God Butcher. Next, let's talk about the gorgeous, beautiful, elegant Black Panther goddess, Boss. We found out about her casting early on, but we also got a look at Boss in official human form for the first time in an exclusive photo. Now, this was not only a sign that like, hey yo, this room is actually filled with a lot of gods, but it could also be a sign for how we may see her show up in Wakanda Forever, as they will obviously be dealing with the death of Chadwick Boseman and the character of T'Challa in whatever way they choose. But yo, I had some cool theories on how they could use Gorr the God Butcher to kill Bast and explain whatever goes down in Wakanda Forever. But I really had to pump the brakes on those like real quick because one, it'd really be effed up to introduce Bast in this form only to let her get knocked off in this movie that doesn't even include Black Panther. And while it might do a great job of setting up Black Panther 2, that would leave like such a bad taste in the mouths of a lot of Black Panther fans. Also, outside of the Avengers movies and what happened between Endgame and Infinity War, Marvel really doesn't have a good track record of connecting these films so quickly. So I'd really say it's about a 20% chance that Gorr kills Boss. Speaking of Wakanda Forever, let's go ahead and speak on a god that is likely to have a lot to do with Namor in that movie. We're talking about the Mayan god, Itzama. Itzama was initially revealed in artwork, but now we see him in the final trailer in Omnipotent City. And yo, this is like very interesting because there are a lot of rumors that Namor will be tied into more Mayan culture than what we typically know about Atlantis, which for real I think is like a pretty dope switch up. And knowing that we already have Boss there as well, I am very curious if anything will go down between those two. But even if like interaction between those two do not happen, I am very hyped to see the Easter egg pop up because it is very crucial to what's going to go down in Wakanda Forever. So when it comes to Gorr's hit list, Itzama stands right there along with Bass and having an equal chance of being offed, coming in at a smooth 20%. Next up, we got those Celestials, even though I'm wondering like, are they really gods? But yo, word on the street is that those two Celestials are the Mad Celestial and a Celestial Gardener, based on their similar looks that they have from the comics. Now look, I think that they would be there in fear of what's happening in the cosmos with Gorr, due to the simple fact that the Celestial's head, who we now know to be Nowhere, was likely killed by another Necro Sword user. Now while that perspective of them being in fear would not match up with the snobby attitude that I think a lot of those guys will have, I am very interested to see more of these Celestials and how their personalities might come into play. And also too, these Celestials look pretty small compared to what we see Arsham as, so I'm kind of curious to see if they can kind of change their size in certain situations as well. But speaking on Arsham, I think that this could be a sign as well that he was straight up BSing during the Eternals, and that the story that we got about Celestials was just a small piece of what's really happening with them. But as far as those Celestials being on Gorr's hit list, I would bump it up a lot, maybe even up to 75%, due to the fact that killing one of them, just one of them, would be the ultimate tone setter for Gorr's ability. So spoiler warning, because now we're going to be getting into cameos that have not been confirmed in trailers. These are all from theory and speculation. So before we get going, drop a sub to the channel and let's get back to it. Now while we were talking about the guys with avatars earlier, we do need to mention Kanchu, because first off, he seems to be in that conception artwork that we saw Itzama in as well. And to be completely honest, I have no reason to believe that they would kill him off. But it would be very cool to see him there because not only is he one of the coolest deities that we've been revealed to so far, I'd also like to see him interact with other gods in a different way than what we saw him in the Idiot when he was pretty much an outcast. But I will say again though, I think he is pretty much safe because we know that he has a lot left to go with Moon Knight, and I feel that out of all the guys we know, he would probably get the superlative for being most likely to have a beer with Gorr the God Butcher, just because of the wavelength they're on as far as having beef with other gods. So I'd say that he has a 0% chance of being on Gorr the God Butcher's hit list. Next we have the celestial bullshitter himself, Arishem. Now look, we've seen the Celestials in the trailers, and he is definitely not one of them, but he was shown in conception art. But however, I'm really not sure if he'll pop up in this movie, because I really can't see them killing him off either based off what they have going on with the Eternals there. So I will say that I think he would be a target for someone else in the MCU, maybe just not Gorr the God Butcher, but it would be cool to see him pop up in the movie. This next one is speculative, but it would be so cool if we got to see it. Imagine if we saw Hercules. And Hercules could definitely be introduced in this movie. Look, he's the son of Zeus, and it seems like Zeus and Thor's gang will be having some beef. I mean, damn, Valkyrie has his lightning bolt in what appears to be the final fight scene with Gorr. So I can definitely see him being more on his dad's side here and trying to get revenge for what went down. And I think that makes him a prime candidate to show up in the movie. But when it comes to getting the axe from Gorr, I leave it at around 60%ish for him, because I feel like either him or his dad should definitely get exposed by Gorr, and that would be a lot of good ways to shake the ground again with Gorr's power set. Now, when it comes to other gods that will be in the Omnipotent City, I am banking that we'll see a lot of alien gods pop up. Like, alien gods could be the bulk of Gorr's killing, and I think that'd be pretty cool because they'd be inconsequential, but it'd also be a great cameo to see gods that are worshipped on planets such as Xandar or the Kree gods or even Skrull gods. Any of those guys in that type of line of thing I think would be dope to see. But regardless of how many guys Gorr kills, like, I know he has to at least like kill 1 or 2 of them, right? But regardless of how many he kills, I'm absolutely excited to see all these guys pop up into the MCU for the very first time and to get expansion on that side of lore when it comes to the mythology in the MCU. I think it's a dope concept of how they're handling it, even when it comes down to the avatars and kind of reframing how we view characters like Black Panther and Namor to kind of serve as avatars for those guys. I think that's absolutely epic. But let me know what you think in the comment section below of who will show up in this movie. Any guys that I might have missed, let me know. I want to hear your theories on who you think Gorr will be killing as well. Drop a like and subscribe to the video, and I will see you all in the next video.